everyone, welcome back to Jessipes. I'm Jess. I make recipes that are fun, easy, and healthy. Today I'm going to help you calculate how many calories you should be eating as well as the macros that go with that. Now before I start, I want to let you know that I am not a trained professional. Always check with your doctor before starting a plan to gain or lose weight, and please know that everybody's body is different and responds differently to these kind of things. This is based on my own experience as well as what I have gained through my own, watching YouTube videos. Someone that I really love, her name is Christine Hronik, and she's from Gauge Girl Training. I will link her below. She has a lot of videos about calculating your macros if you want more in-depth explanations. I'm just going to give you kind of like a crash course today. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is figure out how many calories per day you should be eating. There are two things to calculate. One would be potentially your basal metabolic rate, and that's just how many calories your body needs just to survive. But what I recommend calculating is called the TDEE, and that's going to actually take into account your lifestyle. So how much you're going to the gym, what kind of job you're doing, are you on your feet all the time or not, things like that. So I would just Google TDEE calculator, and you're going to throw in your stats and it's going to give you the magic number. So at the time of filming, I am 36, female, 150 pounds, 5'5", and I called myself moderately active. So there's going to be 4 to 5 categories depending on how active you are, and I said moderate. So my TDEE came out to be 2,125 calories. So that's how many calories per day I would want to eat if I want to maintain the exact same weight that I'm at now. So once you have the TDEE, you want to determine what your goal is. Do you want to maintain, in which case you're going to use that same number that you just calculated? Do you want to lose fat, in which case you're going to subtract 500 calories? Or do you want to gain muscle, in which case you're going to add 500 calories? So for my purposes, I want to lose fat. So I'm going to subtract 500 calories from my TDEE, and so that's going to give me a daily calorie allowance of 1,625 calories. Now the reason we're subtracting 500 calories is because 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. Not all calories are created equal, but that's just a basic guideline. So once I have my daily calorie allowance, I'm going to start calculating how many grams of protein per day I should be eating. For a sedentary lifestyle, you're going to eat 0.4 to 0.6 grams of protein per pound of body mass. For lightly active, you're going to eat 0.7 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body mass. I'm going to consider myself in the active category, so that is a range of 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body mass. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a 0.8 and I'm going to multiply that by my current weight. So I am 150 pounds, so I'm going to take 0.8 times 150, and that will give me 120 grams of protein per day. Then I'm going to multiply that by 4 calories, because there's 4 calories per gram of protein, and that gives me 480 calories per day of protein. Next, you're going to find how much fat you should be eating. So the typical recommendation is 30% of your daily calories coming from fat. Now again, this can differ from person to person, so you really want to check with your doctor, figure out what's right for you. So I took 0.3 and I multiplied that by my 1,625 daily calories, and I got 488 calories. So 488 calories per day can come from fat. If I want to figure out my macros, I'm just going to divide that by 9. There's 9 calories per gram of fat, and I get 54 grams. So I get 54 grams of fat per day. Now I need to figure out my carbs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my daily allowance, which was 1,625 calories. I'm going to subtract my 480 calories from protein, my 488 calories from fat, and I get 657 calories that can come from my carbs. If I want to figure out how many grams of carbs, I'm going to divide that by 4, and I get 164 carbs. So here are my personal macros. So protein, I should be getting 120 grams of protein per day, 54 grams of fat, 164 grams of carbs, for a total of 1,625 calories. Now, there are lots of different things you can use to calculate your macros, and it'll do it all for you. But I've done that before, and I found that sometimes it's a little bit off. So I personally like to calculate my macros myself, and then if I'm using a thing like MyFitnessPal, I actually put in what my goals are and I track it that way. Another thing to think about is that not all calories are created equal. So for example, I could drink a Diet Coke and there's no calories and there's no macros in that, but there's no nutritional value. So you really want to think about the quality of the food that you're eating. There was an approach called If It Fits Your Macros that was huge a few years back, and people still swear by that today. But one thing that it didn't really take into account was the type of food that you're eating. So if you're doing any kind of a diet, but particularly with the macro-based approach, you always want to think about eating whole, real foods and preparing things for yourself as much as possible. It can be tempting to sneak in things because it fits in your macro profile, but ultimately, if you really want to be healthy and achieve your goals, then real whole food is the best way to go. Do feel free, the 80-20 rule, 20%, you can have some treats here and there. You don't want to deprive yourself, but keep in mind that the quality of food that you're eating is very important if you really want to reach those goals. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please put them below. I will include some links to some helpful resources. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Jessipe soon. Bye!